This is how you make new disco, new funk bass lines really pop in your productions or in your songs if you're a singer-songwriter. I've got two flies here fighting in the middle of the air. What are you doing? Get out of my space. Leave. You do not belong here. Ah! Hey, today I'm going to be jumping into a song called Does God Have a Speaker Box by Michelle Yvonne. It is a song that's out there. You can listen to it on Spotify. As you can with all of these tutorials, all these songs are now released and out there in the world. One thing I know artists on YouTube love is new funk and new soul and new disco production breakdowns. And if you're maybe a pop artist wanting to add a bit more funk bass lines into things, Dua Lipa is really awesome at this at the moment. Her last fair few releases have this kind of approach to it, so I wanted to share it with you. This is a song we're going to be listening to today. Just vibes all around. Okay, so we're going to look at this section today. This is the drums and bass, so you can hear how they lock in together. Let's give you another section. These kind of techniques, although they might sound like a producer-y type thing, are really helpful for you to explain to your producer exactly what you want. So for you to have a good understanding of this, I think is really important. And if you're a producer watching this, I hope you have a lot of fun with what I'm about to show you. What synth did I start off with? Good question. Even I don't know, I must admit. I've got 4 layers of synths in this, and each one of them are providing a different element to the production that I think all add into the big impact of the bass in this particular song, and also allowing it to cut through, which is exactly what we're talking about today. Let me mute all these, and let's listen to this first synth on its own. Now, I'm using Serum for this. It's a classic funk plugin. I'm also just going to remove these effects so you can hear it absolutely dry. Cuts through nice. Some of you might love how dry that sounds. Added a bit more distortion. Decapitate is great for that. I forgot what the app was called then. I forgot what the plugin was called. I can't speak. Okay, Echo Boy is the next thing I did. Just a bit of, I imagine, chorus. Oh, a bit of a widener, a bit of a fattener. Oh, you can already hear the difference in that. And then, controversially, I actually added a bit of reverb to this, which we reduced in the final mix, just for a bit of space. I love space. All right, the second synth we added some low end. Bit of movement on this one. I wanted this to sound. This one adds movement to the first one when you hear these together. Adds a bit more interest. Some of those mid-ranges, mid-frequency ranges are now dealt with. So let's just hear that completely dry. Well, what do you know? It's the same synth. But I wanted these to do a different thing. So first of all, I added the usual crunch and the wideness. They were sitting in the same space. Ultimately, I think some of the objectives you want with using 2 separate synths is to make them sound like one synth, but they're covering different areas. And I like doing that because my mixing engineer, Carl, has more to play with. He has more to do on his side. That's something I'm consciously thinking, is thinking ahead. But also, it allows you to attack only certain elements of the sound rather than affecting the whole sound. So that's what, if you're wondering why I've used 2 of the same synth, this is why. Funkwar, which is actually a Logic stock plugin that I really rate. It's cutting out a lot of those frequencies, adding a bit of movement, nothing too major, but I mean, you can hear the difference, so maybe it is quite major actually, thinking about it. And then we've got a further filter on that. Yeah, Slap Funk Boy, Filter Freak. I think I remember playing with where the frequency was at and how much it was in the mix as well, and the resonance, which is this little bump here. The more you move this, really fun. And it actually adds quite a lot of that old 70s, 80s element to it as well, which I really like. So that's that. The third bass is this one. You're probably going, George, I can't hear a bass. Well, you're probably not listening with headphones. If you're listening with headphones or on speakers, you'll hear. That's all the low sub frequencies. In fact, I'm just going to get up a EQ so you can see all in that low end, look, from like 100 down-ish, something like that. I'll add those together for those of you using headphones and speakers. If you're not, feel free to pause the video and put them in. That's with it. That's without. Without. With. Without. Just adds a lot of meat down there. And then finally, a bass guitar. Now, because this is so programmed, I didn't want to use my usual plugins like Trillion, which has great realistic sounding bass sounds. So what I've actually done is sampled a bass note. Controversial, but sampled a bass note, which then I played on my piano to add a little bit of real bass sound, but ultimately keeping it programmed sounding, which is the whole purpose of this. Now, I actually used a fair few older plugins. This is old Waves compression, and that just tames it off. A guitar bass amp, which I like. I think that one is another Waves one. I actually quite like the Waves amps, I must admit. We've got some tiny bit of EQ here, just bringing out some of those mid elements, well no, high mid elements, and then some compression. Quite a lot as well. In fact, extensive. And then, bit of crunch. Again, that's allowing it to cut through. It's quite a low, boomy bass sound, so you want to try every little element to provide higher frequencies that just allow you a bit more space to cut through. Now, keep in mind, I haven't mixed this, so some of these elements will have been removed ahead of sending it to my mixing guy. Just a bit of a limiter at the end. But the process would have been similar with Carl mixing this, but different plugins and a different approach. Okay. You can hear how, when everything's back in, bass is still cutting through even without it being mixed. Alright, system overload did happen. So that is how I made the bass cut through in this particular song. Does God Have a Speaker Box, or DGHASBXX, I think the official release is named. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope this has given you some inspiration to either speak to me about when we start producing music together, or with your own producers, or in your own demos. Don't underestimate how important demos are before you take them through to your producers, because it's going to get all of your ideas, your vision, so much firmlier, that's not a word, I'm going to use it, firmlier in the right direction for future productions with producers. And ultimately, you're going to be happier. We're going to be happier because we know exactly what you want and we're not stabbing in the dark. But also, you might just want to put trust. Michelle completely puts trust in me with all the productions I do for her. She sends me the vocal and nothing else. So I don't even get to hear what her demos sound like. It's just her vocal, and she's like, can't wait to hear what you do. But I have so much fun working with Michelle. Can't wait to jump into the next one with her, and hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If there's anything specific you want to know about this particular song that I haven't mentioned, please leave a comment down below and I can add it to my list of videos that you guys want from me. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, and remember, never stop creating.